So in part one, we built the drum machine. Today, using a specific set of blocks, we will be creating a song, playing specific notes and using specific instruments. In order to code our song and then be able to hear it, we have to use something called MIDI. So MIDI stands for Musical Instrument Digital Interface. And that's a fancy way of saying that it's a language that connects instruments, computers, and other audio devices for playing, editing, and recording music. So the Unruly block coding language assigns each music note a number that can be played using a variety of instrument sounds. This is our MIDI note musical conversion guide. So it looks much more complicated than it actually is. You do not have to be a musician or be familiar with music in order to understand how to make music using MIDI files. So MIDI values are numbers that represent notes on a regular piano keyboard. For splats, these notes range from the very low, for example C1, which is 24, all the way up to the very high C8, 108. Because there are 12 notes from C to B in each octave, you can go up or down an octave by adding or subtracting 12 from that note's MIDI value. So, for example, what that means is here in the example we have Mary Had a Little Lamb. The same notes could be played just an octave higher in pitch by adding 12 to each of the notes. So 64, 62, 60, 62, 64. You can see those notes here, and if you just add 12 to each of the notes, so 64 becomes 76, 62 becomes 74, 60 becomes 72, and then so on and so forth. And that allows you to play the same tune but with one octave higher. These MIDI conversions don't have to be limited to single notes either. So you can build an experiment with basic 3 or 5 note chords played at the same time. Some examples are C in 60, 64, 67, E in 64, 68, and so on. It definitely helps to think about MIDI as notes on a keyboard. So for example, you have F, G, A, B, and so on. So each key on a regular keyboard has a MIDI value. In this case, F is 53, G is 55, and F sharp or G flat is 54. To help you code the song Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, we have created this handy dandy guide. Not only does it have all the words of the song written out, but you can see here in the key that we also have the notes written out as well as the MIDI value. So you can refer down here to our MIDI keyboard in order to help you. And we're gonna switch screens now and see what this will look like written as code. We will be using 6 key blocks today for our boombox. I'm gonna drag and drop them from our panel now. So we're gonna need when program starts, and then under sounds, we will be working with, scroll down, set instrument 2. Continue back to our sounds panel. We're gonna play note. We need to turn off our note. We're gonna need lots of different instruments for our boombox. And then under controls, today we will be working with the delay block. Feel free to use as many blocks as you want to. These are the 6 essential blocks we're using today. Now is a great time to pause the video if you want to prepare your own blocks and follow along. Now that we have our blocks ready, we can start playing around and create our boombox. So today I'm going to work with 1 splat, but you can work with as many splats as you like. We're going to begin with when program starts, and we want our instrument to play as soon as the program starts. So we can just easily snap it into this block, and then we want it to play this note. I'm going to leave this number field alone for right now. That's something we're going to play around with later. I'm going to press run and let's see what happens. So you'll notice that our program kept playing this same piano and this note over and over again without stopping. I had to click on the block itself to get the music to stop. Take a second to think, why did the program keep playing the same piano note over and over again? So if you notice that the program kept going because we didn't tell it to turn off, you would be correct. Remember that when we're coding, we have to be very specific about what we want our program to do and when we want it to do it. So let's add a turn off note block, press run, and we'll see what happens. So this time you'll notice that our program knew to play the piano note just once before stopping. So let's say we want our piano note to play for a few seconds before stopping. In order to do that, we need to use our delay block. So we have to unsnap the turn off note, snap the delay block in between. So let's say we wanted to play for 2 seconds before it stops. You can make this number field anything you want, but for right now, let's make it 2 seconds and we'll see what happens. Now that we have our delay block included into our program, we can start creating a song. So in order to create a song, such as Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, you will need to play several notes. In order to do that, you're going to have to duplicate these blocks. So instead of going back into the panel and dragging and dropping these blocks over again, you can click on when program starts, right click, duplicate, and it creates an exact copy. For those of you who are on a tablet, you can just select the block you want and then press down, and then you'll be able to duplicate that way. So an important thing to keep in mind is that even though we duplicated these blocks, we're not going to use all of them. We don't, for instance, need to reuse when program starts. So you can take these blocks, unsnap them, and then just delete the blue when program starts. The next step is to take your duplicated blocks, snap them onto your program, and then take your instruments block, and you can snap it on to where it says piano. Scroll down in the menu and you can choose a new instrument. So I'm going to choose the organ, and I want it to play a different note because I want to hear for myself what the difference is. So I'm going to set this to 62, and since I'm setting this note to 62, I want the same note to be the one that ends. Press run. And now you'll notice that the one splat is playing both the piano and the organ. And that's it. Using just 6 essential blocks, we were able to start building a song. So remember that today's project is to code the song Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. In order to do that, you're going to have to duplicate your blocks several times. So my screen is going to quickly change, and I'm going to show you what the code looks like for Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Here you see the beginning of Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. If you want to see the whole code, you can navigate over here to where you see a plus and a minus, and that will let you zoom in and zoom out. We'll zoom back in, and you'll notice that I had to duplicate my blocks several times in order to fit the whole song. And I set my delays to half-second delays, but you can set yours to anything you want. And I used the MIDI conversion guide to help me figure out what notes to play and when. So let's run the program and see how it sounds. Not bad. And that's what it sounds like on a violin. You can set yours to be any instrument you want. When you're done with your project, make sure you save it and send it to your teacher so you can share with your friends and share with Crash. If you need help downloading your project, check out our virtual Splats guides for computers and Chromebooks and iPads.